Okay, so looking at our simplifying, this is one of the first questions we come across. Okay, something being squared. Now, this is junior cert ordinary level. The only thing that you need to remember here to make sure that you don't make a silly mistake is that it's a 2x minus 1 times itself. Okay, so 2x minus 1 times 2x minus 1. Okay, it is not like anything to do with the 2x by itself and the minus 1 by itself. Okay, yes, we will end up with that 2x having to be squared, but only because the 2x is multiplying by 2x. So it's 4x squared. Okay, so 2 by 2 is 4, x by x is x squared. Then the 2x still has to multiply the rest of that first bracket. So the minus 1 in this case. So plus by plus is a minus, 2 by 1 is 2, and then x isn't multiplying another variable. Then we go on to the next term in the first bracket. Okay, so every term in the first bracket has to multiply every term in the second. So the 2x has just multiplied every part of the second bracket, and now I'm on to the next term. So the minus 1 now has to multiply every term. So minus 1 by 2x is going to give me minus 2x. And the minus 1 has to multiply by the minus 1 to give me plus 1. So you will often hear people say that it's the first term squared, the first by the second and double it, and then the second term squared. Okay, because that is what we are looking at when we simplify our like terms here. So the minus 2x and minus 2x is minus 4x, and then the plus 1 at the end. Okay, so it's the first term squared, so the 2x all to be squared. The first times the second, so minus 2x and double it. And then the last one squared. Okay, so that's the case when we have two terms inside a bracket being squared. Okay, it is the first one squared and the last one squared, but it is also the first times the second and double it. Okay, let's look at another one. So B is minus 2x squared plus 5x minus 6 times 1 minus x. Okay, so again, every term in that first bracket has to multiply every term in the second bracket. So when we are looking at this, the minus 2x squared has to multiply by 1 to give me minus 2x squared. And it needs to multiply by the minus x to give me a plus 2x cubed. Okay, then on to the next part. Oopsies. Okay, so on to then the next part of the first bracket. The 5x has to multiply everything in the second bracket. So I will get plus 5x minus 5x squared. And then lastly, the minus 6 in the first bracket has to multiply by everything in the second bracket so that I get minus 6 and a plus 6x. Okay, we have to go through this and simplify. There's so much stuff for us to simplify here. The x cubed doesn't have any like terms, so it just gets carried down. So it's a 2x cubed. Okay, then we have a couple of x squareds. So we have minus 2x squared minus 5x squared, which is going to give me minus 7x squared. We have a plus 5x and a plus 6x, which is going to give me plus 11x. And then the minus 6 doesn't have any like terms, so that gets carried down. And that's it. Okay, so when it's fully simplified, the x's you shouldn't have any two x's that have the same powers. Okay, because if that was the case, then they would be like terms, so you should have simplified those. Okay, let's do one more. So C is a plus 1 to be squared minus a minus 1 to be squared. Okay, now we have just looked at how to square terms in part A. Okay, it is the first one squared, so this first bracket is going to give me a squared. Then it's the first times the second and double it, so 2a plus, and then the second term squared, so the plus 1. So that's that squared. And then I have to minus the second bracket squared, so that's going to give me a squared. Then it is an a times a minus 1 and double it, so minus 2a. And then a minus 1 times a minus 1 gives me plus 1. Okay, so that is then both squared out. Okay, so I done the squared out first because if you think about it with BIMDAS, okay, can I simplify inside either of these brackets? Can I do a plus 1 or can I do a minus 1? No. Do I have indices? Yes. So that is why I squared them out first, okay, to get rid of the indices. I could have rewritten them to get rid of the indices. I could have written that as a plus 1 times a plus 1, and I could have rewritten this as a minus 1 times a minus 1. But then my next one would have been to do out the multiplication anyway. Okay, so that is the indices done. I now am on to kind of a multiplication part because this minus directly outside the bracket is the same as a minus 1 multiplying everything inside that bracket. Okay, the minus is meaning everything inside that bracket has a minus acting on it. Okay, so it's a minus 1 multiplying everything inside that bracket. So really what I have here is an a squared plus 2a plus 1. And then I have a minus acting on everything inside the second bracket. So I have a minus a squared, a plus 2a, and a minus 1. So go through that and simplify. Okay, so I have an a squared minus a squared, so that's 0a squared. So you can write that down, or you can just recognize that they cancel. Or if you want, you can put a line through them, but it just means then that an examiner won't maybe be able to see your work as clearly. Okay, then my a's, so I have a 2a and a 2a, which is going to give me 4a, and then I have plus 1 minus 1, which goes to 0. So my final answer is 4